Hey, good evening. I'm really happy to have you here. My name is Daniel. I was a professional opera singer and beatboxer, and tonight we're going to be listening to Dan Vasc's cover of Gethsemane from Jesus Christ Superstar. So, when I was in high school, I sang a ton of Andrew Lloyd Webber's music, and while his music is not necessarily something that I really love, maybe it's just because I sang it so often from choir that it's just kind of overplayed for me personally. But with that said, I really enjoy Dan. I think Dan Vasc is such an incredible vocalist, and his interpretation of pieces and his covers are so powerful and engaging. And regardless of whatever music he sings, I'm just invested in him. So this video in particular was a request from someone who actually donated to the channel, which is Cherokee Mammy of 4 Boys. So thank you so much for donating to the channel, and I wanted to make sure that I got to this video as quickly as I could. So with that said, I'm really excited to jump into this. I have no idea what to expect from Dan's cover, and yeah, I'm just really excited, and I hope you guys are as well. So without any further delay, let's just jump into it.
I only want to say, if there is a way, take this cup away from me, for I don't want to taste its poison. Feel it burn me. I have changed. I'm not as sure as when we started. Then I was inspired. Now I'm sad and tired.
Yeah, dude.
Surely I've exceeded
Nice.
expectations. Tried for 3 years, feels like 30. Could you ask as much from any other man? But if I die, see the saga through and do the things you asked of me. Let them hate me, hurt me, nail me to the tree. I want to know, my God. Want to know, my God. Want to see, my God. Want to see, my God. Why I should die? Would I be more noticed than I ever was before? Would the things I've said and done matter anymore? I have to know, my Lord.
Oh my gosh.
I have to know, my Lord. I have to see, my Lord. I have to see, my Lord. If I die, what would be my reward? If I die, what would be my reward? Have to know, I have to know, my Lord. Have to know, I have to know, my Lord. Should I die? Should I die? Can you show me now that I won't be killed in vain? Show me just a little of your omnipresent brain. Show me there's a reason for you wanting me to die. Your father took in a woman, how, but not to her why. Alright, I will die. Just watch me die. See how I die.
Nice. chills, dude. That breath.
Then I was inspired. Now I'm sad and tired. After all I've tried for 3 years, seems like 90. Why then I'm scared to finish what I've started. Was you started? I didn't start it. God, thy will is hard, but you hold every card.
Oh, dude.
I will drink your cup of
Oh, what an open sound.
nail me to your cross and break me, bleed me, beat me, kill me, take me now before I change my mind.
Beautiful sustain there. Oh, wow, what an abrupt ending. Yeah, dude, what a wicked performance. His personification of the character and his intensity is still, like, I've commented on his intensity in previous videos, but he just does such a great job of not being too histrionic, but still fully embodying the character that meshes with not just his vocal style, but with an understanding of who the character is and how he internalizes that character into his own style, which I find to be very well adapted. There are, in some of his classical sections, critique some of those specific areas, and they're not going to really be that negative because I really don't have anything negative to say about it. There are some things that I more or less just want more of, that he either hinted at or executed well, but I need more of. So let's just jump into this analysis so I could be a little bit more specific as to what I'm trying to talk about. Yeah, and something I love, just before we get into the music, this is something really important in any kind of music. Not just in terms of classical recitals or operas, but in any genre of music. The moment the music starts playing, heck, the moment you step out on stage, you need to be in a very specific headspace. And I actually have a story about this, where I was in a master class with a small section of the vocal department at my university. And we were fortunately visited by the casting director of the Metropolitan Opera at the time. I don't know if he still is. And one of the school's best bass baritone vocalists was about to come in and present his piece, perform it, and be critiqued by this casting director. And the very instant that one of our best vocalists walked out, he just said, "Stop, I don't want to hear you anymore. You're done. Leave." And we were just completely dumbfounded and flabbergasted. Like this guy is a great reflection of the school's potential. Like, he couldn't even make it to the center of the stage before he was asked to leave. like it was terrifying. We all just felt this knife in our hearts, like, oh my gosh, what did he do wrong already? And it was this nonchalant walk he had, just in his aura, that was palpable to the director. And he said, "If you're not interested in coming out and performing, I'm not interested in you." Obviously, the vocalist was very interested, but just based off of the energy in which he walked out onto stage was enough to convince the director that there was no energy. There was no intent from the first step out onto the stage. So in this video, where it is forced perspective, we don't see him walk out onto the stage, but to its equivalent of fading into Dan's image, right when we get a full picture of Dan, you just see him immediately in the scene. You see him immediately in this zone. And that is so imperative. Even if your vocal line doesn't come up for several measures, you still need to be in that intensity. You still need to be in that zone, that framework of your character, and just have everything, your entire world already built around you before engaging. That's what's going to engage your audience. Not like, obviously your voice is what's going to engage them as well, but they need to see it. They need to feel it first. It's very similar to food in the ideas of a chef, where you eat with your eyes first, and then your nose, and then your mouth. And it's a full experience, not just listening to the music, but engaging with the artist, engaging with the world they're building, engaging with their intensity or their action. There's just so much more that goes into music than just the music, even though that's the critical aspect of it. It's very similarly to the flavor of the food is the critical aspect of it, but there's so much more nuance than that. There's just so many more elements that come into play in order to create a really impactful performance or audition or music video, in this case, of a cover. And he just does such an excellent job portraying this intensity before his musical line begins. And I just love it so much.
I only want to say, if there is a way.
I love that. So he starts on a glottal, which personally is not my favorite thing, which is I, where since this is a more delicate and tender opening, I would have preferred a silent H to go into it of I instead of I. But that being said, I actually don't think the glottal is a bad choice in this case, mainly because it is a very soft opening. And the fact that even though his vibrato is very consistent and very foundational, we are in this really emotionally raw place. And his vibrato is shaking. It is spinning to keep that consistency, but you feel this more domineering effect of shakiness, of I, instead of I only want to say. And because of that rawness, because of that domineering shakiness, it adds so much more life and character to the phrasing and to the character in and of himself. So really great just character choices from Dan here. I absolutely love this opening.
If there is a way,
yeah.
Take this cup away from me.
Oh yeah. Take this cup away from me. You just feel this incredible raw energy just being pulled, and there's so much intensity and strength in that. Let's listen to that again.
If there is a way, take this cup away from me.
Away from me. Instead of going away with an epsilon e, he immediately goes to this very bright E vowel. So instead of going away from me, just away from me. And because you're not leaving it open for the e would be a much more beautiful choice and connect the sentence a lot easier and allow the flow of the sentence to happen because you're not really biting down on an E vowel. But that being said, the E vowel is so much more raw. You can just feel that intensity because it's being really bitten down, because it is a very bright vowel, excruciatingly bright, overly bright, and it's just leading directly into the next sentence with this immense resistance and emotional pull. And it's just so heavy hitting and impactful. Really great choices, really great character choices here. I love it.
Take this cup away from me.
Yeah, and just away from having that crack, just adding more texture to that emotional rawness. I love it.
For I don't want to taste its poison.
Yeah, it's poison. Just, again, this domineering, shaky energy, this power in his body, just barely able to constrain it within him. Just remarkable character choices here. I love this dude. And the fact that he has these really intense away and very powerful, and then taste. Just having that be so soft within the same musical sentence, the same cadence. Oh, dude, really great stuff showing that you're just barely keeping it together. Really great.
I don't want to taste its poison.
Yeah!
Feel it burn me.
So delicate.
I have changed. I'm not as sure as when we started. Then I was inspired.
Yeah!
Now I'm sad and tired.
Yeah!
Listen, surely I've had...
Yeah, and now we're just getting this really great vocal build in increments where each musical cadence has its own dynamic, its own level of energy, and it's just building on top of each other. And then in this last one here, just before I paused it, it started almost as though it retracted to something so quiet, but then exploded into this really great, powerful sound. Let's listen to that again.
Now I'm sad and tired. Listen, surely I've exceeded expectations. Tried for 3 years, feels like 30. Could you ask as much from any other man?
Could you ask as much as any? I would have preferred that to be more connected and more together instead of ask as much as much as. Like, you could still be very crisp in your consonants and have those consonants serve as your break instead of actually breaking the sound. Because I feel like in this particular cadence, we're just riding this excruciatingly heavy momentum where now we're really pushing this boulder along, and to lose that momentum through breaks in the sound feels just ever so off to me at this point in the song, where I still love the fact that it is still very emotionally raw, and these raw choices cause the breaks in the musical cadence. So I'm not saying it's a bad choice by any means. I completely understand why it's happening, and I still really appreciate the fact that he is still maintaining this level of energy and character effects in the way that he's structuring these cadences. Personally, I would have preferred if this section specifically was a little bit more connected. His diction, again, is just so crisp and so clean, and I feel like he could utilize that in a way where it's not just us understanding the words, but actually use those consonants to create the exact same emotionally raw effect of breaking the sentence with cuts and then resuming onward and just using much to, where that CH can really just feel like the cut, but you're still riding that momentum without a cut, if that makes sense. Like, let's listen to this cadence again.
Feels like 30. Could you ask as much from any other man?
Yeah. Like, it's still beautiful and it's still well executed. Ask as much as any. And just really feeling that pull with those powerful consonants, but still keeping that momentum generating forward, if that makes sense. But again, still love it.
But if I die,
Yeah.
see the saga through and do the things you asked of me. Let them hate me, hurt me, nail me to the tree. I want to know, to know, my God. Want to know, my God. Want to see, my God.
Yeah, so he's doing a lot of repeating here. And the first two, I want to know, my God. I need a little bit more dynamic change in each I want to know. I'm getting a change between the cadences of I want to know, where they're more coupled I want to know, change into a more stressful I want to know. But I would prefer a more streamlined approach of I want to know kind of sensation, where it's not just a couple are the same and then we're moving to a new energy, but instead of having steps, it's more like an escalator where it's consistently moving up instead of having to take steps to new emotional cores. But again, just the fact that he's changing them at all, it means so much to me, because now I'm really engaging and understanding why he's repeating these phrases. So the fact that he's doing them really, really makes me so happy as a storyteller and a vocalist. And he's just doing such a great job with this piece.
No. I want to know, my God. Want to know, my God.
Yeah!
I want to see, my God. Want to see, my God. Why I should die.
And just going into this growl. Die! Oh, it's so haunting. I love it, dude.
I should die. Would I be more noticed than I am?
Just that slide into his upper chest voice. Great belt there. Oh, so good.
Die. Would I be more noticed than I ever was before?
I love that too. Ever was before. And just kind of leaving that before, but and just opening it up ever so slightly at the end to a schwa, an upside down E or an sound. So let's listen to that again.
Honest than I ever was before.
Yeah. It's such a great way to end a word that has an R at the end, because R's are very bitten down. So to do before, you can either end it on the open O, or you can open it to the A, like Dan just did here, and allow that to fade and to taper into the next musical line without losing momentum. Really great choice there in terms of the diction.
Things I've said and done matter anymore.
Yeah!
I have to know, my Lord. Have to know, I have to know, my Lord. Have to see, I have to see, my Lord. Have to see, I have to.
Oh, I love this too. If I die, and just holding on to that D before really expressing the die, because this is a really terrifying feeling of dying. You know, we as human beings very much intrinsically want to fight for our own survival. And if you can actually physicalize the idea of death in your body, it's a terrifying experience. So when he's really engaging with this prospect of death and needing to have his answers, he's just, the moment that he actually engages with the word die, there's a very brief hesitancy and holding on to that D before speaking the rest of the word. Oh, it's such a great choice there.
To see my Lord, if I die, what
Yeah!
would be my reward? If I die, what would be my reward? Have to know, I have to know, my Lord. Have to know, I have to know, my Lord. Why should I die?
And just that transition down into his actual vocal register from that scream. So well executed.
My love, have to know, I have to know, my love.
Just having this really intense scream and just so seamlessly transitioning that into his actual vocal register, where it's a really rich timbre. Oh, dude, so well done. We're listening to that one more time.
I have to know, my love, have to know, I have to know, my love.
Oh, dude, so raw, so powerful.
Should I die? Should I die? Can you show me now that I won't be killed in vain? Show me just a little of your omnipresent brain. Show me there's a reason for you wanting me to die. You're far too keen of women, how, but not too hard on why.
And again, back into this growl, so raw, so great, dude.
Alright, too hard on why. Alright, I will die. Just watch me die.
I love that we go from this really direct and forward intensity of, I will die, and then this internalized feeling of that and just how terrifying it is. You just get chills down your spine when you just feel how terrifying this is. You're riding this high of strength and courage, but then you get slapped in the face with a reality of death is actually approaching me now. I'm actually recognizing this and reconciling with this. And it just completely shifts the atmosphere, even though we're still riding the same momentum of courage. It's really remarkably done.
See how I die.
See how I die. And the fact that he held on to the note before engaged with the rest of it, die, it lets you know about this lag that he's feeling in his body. Instead of, see how I die, you just feel this die. You're ruminating on die again. And that's a common theme throughout the entirety of the song, of the hesitance to immediately go into die right on the beat, like I commented near the beginning of the song. And now we're experiencing this still sense of lag, presented in a different way, because we're staying on the same note before engaging with the rest of it. Just for him to internalize how the character is perceiving death and internalizing this character and how that character feels about this in not just one, but in multiple different iterations of musical change. Really superbly done. I absolutely love that. Nothing is the same. It just constantly feels like a forward momentum train of emotion. And it's just so raw and impactful and so well done, dude.
See how I die. See how
So, something I love about his scream, his tongue is resting in his mandible. There's no tension. He's just letting this full blast out. And it's so powerful. And you just feel this rawness just inundating his body and the audience with this level of dominating energy. And it's ineffable. And his vibrato in this scream here is... it's so perfectly consistent. He doesn't lose a single step in how perfectly generated the scream is. yeah! And still in the character. This breath. You have to recall some really intense emotions to have full control over such an erratic breath. That takes a lot of reconciling of personal experience and trauma to be able to have a control over something so emotionally intense. Really great stuff.
Then
I love how he takes his time on that consonant. Then. Yeah.
Then
Yes.
I was.
And it's still so breathy, but he's somehow able to still vocalize the sound. Oh my god, dude.
Then I was inspired. Now I'm sad and tired. After all I've tried for 3 years, seems like 90. Why then I'm scared to finish what I've started. Was you started? I didn't start it. God, thy will is.
You could just tell every emotion he's experiencing just through the way that he's singing. It's really incredible, but seeing that visual representation of him, watching him go through these types of emotions, superbly done.
Hard, but you hold every card. I will drink your cup.
Oh, that straight tone was beautiful.
I will drink your cup of poison.
Oh, and that hold on the end there. I mentioned this before in several other videos. When you hold on to a consonant, you're closing off the vowel, but you're not closing off the sound. You're not closing off the end of the musical cadence. You're riding that N into the next line, and that N just adds so much more emotional depth to this, not just the musical sentence, but the lyrical sentence as well. Really great.
Cup of poison. Nail me to your cross and break me. Beat me, kill me. Take me now before I change my mind.
Just this stillness, even though he's still singing, and even though his vibrato is still spinning, and even though there's still musical momentum, you just feel from that really powerfully raw, intense emotion into this more light register of his voice. All of a sudden, this music becomes chilling because we've been so rooted in this. So well done, especially when he lingers on it, where it's like the stillness of night. At the beginning, I was saying that this music was overplayed in my high school days, and I haven't really listened to it a lot because I was just so tired of hearing it. But man, Dan, you just reintroduced me to it in such a unique and dynamic way. Dude, just that intensity, that power, that rawness. Oh, dude, I love the way you connect with music, brother. It's just exactly what I need from an artist. It's so great. I love your approach to music, man. It's just stellar. Thank y'all so much for watching this video with me. If you guys liked it, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And if you didn't like it, please leave a dislike and let me know why in the comments below. I do read all of the comments, even if I may not heart or reply to all of them, so please just know that your comments do not go unnoticed, and I do take them into further consideration as I make future videos. My live streams are currently Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so if you guys would like to stop by, say hey, or would like to ask me any questions about myself or the channel, I absolutely love to be there for you. And I leave all of my live streams up on YouTube, so if you'd like to get an idea as to how they roll, you're more than welcome to check those out as well. My Patreon is still under development, and I'm making a lot of content for that still, so I really appreciate your patience, and I'm sure it's going to be worth it the moment it's launched. I can't express how grateful I am that you guys are here and just watching this content, and I can't wait to see all of you in the next video. Have a great rest of your evening, everyone.